This is a spicy Mango-rita, quite possibly my favorite cocktail I've made on the show so far. It requires 2 Serrano slices, some cilantro leaves, fresh lime juice, mango puree, simple syrup, and Casamigos Blanco. Muddle that together, add some ice, shake it, and double strain it into your salt, sugar, and tajin-rimmed glass. Garnish with a cilantro leaf. Nastia Liukin told me she loved spicy margaritas, so naturally I decided to add a little something extra.
Yeah,
Cilantro.
I feel like I wouldn't really know where to start with making something like this.
Nastia is a gold medal winning Olympic gymnast. You probably know her from the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, where she won the all-around gold medal. As well as being the 2008 Olympic individual all-around champion, she is the 2005 and 2007 world champion on the balance beam and the 2005 world champion on the uneven bars.
So professional.
She was also my castmate on season 20 of Dancing with the Stars, so I'm excited to sit down and catch up over spicy margaritas. I'm Riker Lynch, and this is Glass Half Full. Okay.
All right.
Nastia, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me. It's been a minute.
It has. We first met, I think it was at the NBC Skating Spectacular.
Yeah, gymnastics.
Gymnastics,
and skating.
yeah. Gymnastics and
Yes.
skating.
And you guys were performing.
Yeah, we did. It was like one of our first television performances.
Yeah.
And you were dancing and doing gymnastics to our song "Fallen for You."
That's right.
And
oh my
we
God,
played
that
at
was
this-
so long ago.
That was so long ago.
How
Yeah.
many, like
That was
6, 7.
Yeah, that was
years?
2000. Had to be 2012. Or early 2013.
Yeah. So like 6. My math
Yeah.
skills are not very good.
No worries,
okay,
no
like
worries.
over 5 years, basically.
Yeah. It's been a minute, and
Yeah.
then we really didn't reconnect until Dancing with the
Yeah,
Stars.
I know.
Right?
Yes, and I was very excited that you were on the show. It was so much fun.
It was. I had a really good time, and you were partnering my cousin, so
That's
it
right,
was just
yeah.
all sort of in the family, and we'd
Yeah.
already met, so
Yep.
that was cool. But
Yeah.
I wanted to really get to know, like, obviously you're a gold medal winning gymnastics Olympian.
Seems like a very different lifetime ago.
Yeah. So I want to know, like, how did you? Because you're originally from Russia.
Yeah, so I was born in Moscow. Both my parents were actually gymnasts. So
Okay.
they competed for the Soviet Union, and then I'm the only child, unlike you and your large family.
Yes.
But I didn't really want, my parents didn't want me to do gymnastics. I wanted to do it because, like, I loved it
Really?
so much, and they didn't want me to do it only because so my dad competed at the Olympics, won 4 Olympic medals. My mom was a world champion in rhythmic gymnastics. And so they both knew just how hard gymnastics was.
Right.
And so as the only child, they just wanted me to be happy. But right away, like, my happiness came from gymnastics. And so they were like, okay, fine, we'll let you do it. But they always kind of said, like, we're not going to force or push you into it. Like, this has to be, like, your goal, your journey. And, like, we'll be, you know, along the way trying to, like, help you,
Yeah.
but we're not going to, like, ever make you do it. So that's kind of, like, how I got started, because when I was born, my dad was still training and competing. So in Moscow. And so we would
wow.
just go visit him at the training center there. And then we moved to the United States when I was 2.5. And they started coaching at a local gym in New Orleans, actually. We moved from
Really?
Moscow to
Moscow,
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans.
The week of Mardi Gras.
Oh, nice.
My parents didn't speak any English, and they were just like, what is this country?
So do you speak Russian?
I do, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Yeah, so, like, I remember growing up, I didn't really, I don't know, I feel like when you're that age, it's not cool to speak another language. You know,
Yeah.
like, kids kind of make fun of you, and so I, like, really didn't want to speak Russian, but my parents forced me, and now I'm, like, so thankful that
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they kind of made me keep it up, because my grandparents live in Russia still, and so, you know, I can't imagine not being able to talk to them, like,
Right.
in
Yeah,
Russian,
yeah, yeah.
obviously, because they don't speak a lot of English, and so, yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, kind of how I got started, was just really spending a lot of time in the gym, and I just fell in love with it,
Yeah.
and had, like, such a huge passion for it. So.
That's cool. I like that a lot. I like that your parents were, you know, just being like, all right, you can do
yeah.
whatever you want to do. We're not going to force you
My
into it.
mom
That was
actually
great.
tried to get me to play piano.
Really?
I hated it. I went for like a few months, I want to say, and every single time I had a lesson, I cried.
Oh, no.
And like I was like so miserable, because like I just kept thinking, like, this is time that I'm not in the gym, like,
Right.
doing something that I really love. And I get what she was doing, obviously. You know, they were trying to figure out what it is that I loved most. Piano, unfortunately, was not one of them. And she was kind of like, okay, well, you can try, you have to try. And I didn't like it. I went a few times, and that was the end of my music career.
Nothing else.
No. But
what about singing in the shower? Like any?
Oh, I mean, yeah, obviously.
Okay.
But
yeah.
some good
Everybody's
T-slips.
got that. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. Well, that's great. I feel like I had a similar thing with my parents of just being like, yeah, we're gonna let you do whatever you want to do. And for me in the beginning was ice hockey. So I kind of can
really?
relate to
I didn't know that. My
the
fiance
sports.
played hockey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For
cool.
like
yeah, he went to Boston College.
right.
Yeah, and they won 2 national titles there. So I mean that was like really, I didn't know him then, but like kind of looking back on the journey, like obviously Boston, what I've learned about hockey is Boston College is like, really good hockey school, and like the tradition that they have there. And so
big hockey town.
Yeah, big hockey town, like with BU and BC and Hart, like there's so many amazing schools in the area. And that was like always his dream. Like he grew up in Boston, so he just always wanted to be an Eagle and play. So yeah, so I think we understood each other, as
far as athletes. Yeah,
I
definitely.
think even like for you, obviously you started in hockey, but I think just being a performer, it's very similar to being an athlete. It's all in the same. And even when we were on Dancing with the Stars, it's like
that was
it's all like full on. No matter what your background is, like we kind of had a little. I feel like we had a little bit of an advantage because we knew like how to perform.
Definitely, yeah.
And that can be. And even then, like, it was definitely out of my comfort zone, like, just dancing. And, like, I don't know about you, but I think just having a little bit of that background, you kind of are like, okay, you're used to an audience.
Yeah,
and
used
like,
to the audience, used to the stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. I can't imagine people that, because I was on Glee.
Yep.
So I had done a fair amount of dancing.
Yeah.
So I can't, going on to that show, as hard as that was for me, I can't imagine what it would be like for somebody that has just zero, not even on performance experience, but dancing experience. Like that is insane.
Yeah, and then
really
take like
about
a live. I mean, obviously, like the audience in the ballroom wasn't as large, but like it's still a live audience. And then there's like X amount of millions of people watching live, and you're just like, oh my god, if I mess up right now, like this is live, totally. You can't go back, and
Do you think you were more? Maybe you weren't nervous for either, but were you nervous for that or the Olympics more?
It was like. It's a different kind of nervous. Like, I think obviously for the Olympics, it was something that I had trained my entire life for that one moment. And I knew that, I probably wouldn't get a second chance. And especially in gymnastics, you kind of peak between like 16 and 18. And then...
That's so crazy how young you guys are for that.
Yeah, and so you're lucky if you get basically a second chance or a second opportunity. And I knew that I was kind of like at the peak of my career, so this was my one shot. Whereas like dancing, but I also had done that for 18 years of my life, was like leading up to that moment. So a lot of pressure, but also I was prepared. For dancing, like I had never taken a dance class in my life. Like yes, I had done gymnastics for years, but the thought of doing like a salsa or like a rumba or like anything like that was like so scary to me. I was obviously so lucky to have Derek as my partner because like what a pro. And we did definitely have to balance a lot because he was doing the show at Radio City.
Right, yeah, you guys had a crazy schedule in the beginning there because you're both in New York and the show, we do Dancing with the Stars in Los Angeles.
Yes, exactly. And
so were you going back and forth?
I was going to school at NYU.
Wow.
And I was kind of like, I don't want to like just take a whole semester off. So I'm like, well, I have to be in New York. And they're like, okay, well, we have a partner that also has to be in New York. And I like didn't know it was Derek. And I was kind of like, all right, so we're just going to fly back and forth across the country every week. And that's what we ended up doing.
Were you on like nice flights at least, or how did that all work out?
Yeah, I mean, like we flew like in the lay down seats every time going back. So basically Monday after the show, we would scramble to the airport and take a red eye.
So you're trying to you got to go to LAX then?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So like I would like stroll in like crazy hair and makeup, like sometimes we have like these elaborate, as you guys hopefully, I don't know, saw some of us, right? Hopefully.
Definitely, yeah.
Go back and watch.
I'd say at least the core audience of this show will definitely have seen.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of hours lost of sleep, and
Yeah.
I literally don't know how I like passed that semester, because I remember the day, so we all come back for the finale, and the day after the finale, I had to fly back to New York, or that night on a red eye, and I had 3 finals to take that day.
Oh, geez.
And I was just like, I like opened my first one, and I'm just like, the words were just like everywhere,
around.
and I'm like, oh my God, focus. Like nothing was like processing, but I somehow got it together. But
well, that's good. I'm glad you pulled it off.
Yeah, and then I'm glad I just like I didn't have to skip a whole semester, because then the whole point was too, it was before the Rio Olympics, and so I wanted to be graduated right before, because after the Olympics I was there for a whole month working and commentating, and then we went on a 3-month tour where I performed, and so it was I couldn't have gone back in the fall semester, then it would have had to been like January, and I was just like ready to be done, and so it worked out basically, but yeah.
Gotcha. Well, so being an athlete, I really want to know like what, especially during the Olympics, which is like the height of it all. What was your like sort of nutritional or daily routine health looking like? Because I'm really into that right now.
Not this,
right?
As good as it is.
Yes. Only on the weekends. No, probably never, right?
No, I never drank, ever. I mean, like, as you were saying, like, it's just so important. And my mom kind of taught me this early on when I was younger. She was like, you have to treat your body like an expensive car. What kind of fuel do you put into the car? If you put the cheapest fuel, that's the result you're going to get out of the car, and the same with your body. And so I feel like that kind of like resonated with me, because not to say like that I didn't have junk food every once in a while. Like I was still a normal teenage girl, and I just kind of had like I mostly did that like if ever on weekends, because like my schedule during the week was training 7 hours a day, 6 days a week. So I would wake up, and then I would train from 8 to 12. Then I went to school 12:30 to 3. Then I trained again 3:30 to 6:30. Went home, did homework, dinner, whatever.
Wow.
So there was really no time for like to, be extra exhausted, because you're already exhausted from that training. So it was like, for me, nutrition was truly about, energy, and kind of like getting the most energy out of my body as possible. And that's really like what you put into your body. And so I mean, I had a very like, I feel like well-balanced diet of, carbs, protein, fruits, vegetables. But again, like that being said, like I love ice cream. And so like Saturday night was like, if I was going to have like splurge, that was kind of my night to, go out with friends and, go to a movie or whatever. And then I had Sunday to kind of like recover from my ice cream.
Right, yeah. Well, that's good that you sort of
seriously, like, you can feel it though, like
absolutely.
Even now, like I don't train 7 hours a day anymore, but like when I eat like crappy food, like the next day I feel it. Yeah. Like I just don't have as much energy, and
That's the biggest thing I've noticed is like when I go so into like the health side of things, you really start to understand what stuff is really doing bad, because if you have a couple cookies or some ice cream, like you said, you've been really healthy, you really feel what happens to your body, whereas like if you're eating like that all the time, you just feel like that's normal to be tired all day,
you're like,
but it's not normal,
because you don't know what it feels like to feel so amazing.
We were just talking, even like I just got back from Vegas, and that's the perfect example. It's just like,
exactly.
Oh my God, gotta get.
But you do have to live a little bit.
Yes, it definitely live your best life, and everything in moderation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's cool. So wow, how long? How many hours?
7 hours a day.
7 hours
6
a day.
days a week. Yeah, Sunday was our day off.
So you had a full day of recovery. Were you doing like ice baths and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I did everything. I mean, I also feel like now there's so many more things that you can do for recovery. Like, oh my gosh, I wish we had the things that, people are doing
like
now.
Cryotherapy,
infrared saunas, and I have Normatex. I don't know if you've ever used those.
No, what's that?
They're like these really cool, I'm not going to do a great job of explaining them, but like they're like these like pants kind of thing, and they
squeeze.
Like compression. Yeah. Which are like amazing. My fiance just ran the Boston Marathon, and like that was like so crucial to his recovery every day training for it. But so like the things that they have now, I'm just like, wow, that would have been great to have while I was training. But that being said, you know, I did everything that I possibly could. So I did like acupuncture, massage therapy, physical therapy, ice bath. I'm trying to think what else I did. Pretty much everything. But yeah, everything that like was available. Because I also feel like it's just as important to take care of your body like outside of, you know, your physical training, like the recovery, the
recovery
rest.
is very important.
We were just talking about before, you know, how important sleep is. Like I have always known that, but like now the older you get, like the more you
really
realize
feel
it.
it, yeah.
When you're younger, you just like bounce right up. And earlier this week, I had to work till like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then the next day I was like a zombie the entire day, and I'm just like, it has taken me days to recover from that. Whereas I feel like when you're younger, you just like bounce.
Totally, yeah. Sleep deprivation is a real thing.
It's real.
It's crazy, and like you said, as you get older, you try to like. You just got to really take advantage of that. But what they say is what I'm learning now actually is that it's not about the amount of hours, it's about the quality.
Yes.
So if you can really set up your environment, you know, you have blackout curtains, there's no lights, there's no Wi-Fi or anything in your room, apparently you sleep like much better. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's probably one of my hardest things too, is like turning off your phone and like technology. Like I'm very guilty of being in bed, like scrolling through Instagram, and then like right when I feel like my eyes shutting, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, then you put it down.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so important to try to turn off at least like 20, 30 minutes, an hour before you actually go to sleep to try to shut your mind off. But I get it. It's like we live in this world where it's so constant and it's so hard. But it is kind of like one of my goals to like try to stay away from social media a little bit, because like I love it. I love being able to connect with, you know, fans and friends and people, but at the same time it's so consuming that sometimes you're just like, you pick up your phone and the first thing you like open is Instagram and you're like, wait, why am I even doing it? It's a habit.
It becomes a habit. Yeah. What I've known to do is I'll move the location of the app like every couple weeks, and then you're like, oh wait, where is it? You know, it takes an extra second, and then you go, okay, wait, I don't need to get on right now.
I don't actually need it. Yeah. Well, because I always I feel like the people that I'm like most interested in knowing what they're doing, like if something that exciting happens, they're gonna tell me.
They're gonna call you.
If they're engaged, if they have a baby, if they get married, like I'm hoping that I don't have to find out on Instagram.
On Instagram,
you know? But
if you did, you kind of be like, what?
Yeah,
what the hell?
Like,
you didn't
I
tell
thought
me.
We were actually friends, not just like Insta friends.
Yeah.
So it's definitely kind of like, I feel like that's part of like the health and wellness like aspect of my life too, is like trying to like, you know, step away at certain times, or just like even at dinner, like put your phone away.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that is, it's hard, but it's like if you can get into like a little habit of doing that, whether you're, you know, with a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a fiance, whatever, or even just like your parents. Like I don't live near my parents, they live in Texas, and so it's like anytime I'm there like having dinner with them, like I really try to make it an effort, because I don't feel like we spend enough quality time together. And then like even when I'm with them a lot, I'm on my phone and I'm like,
well, you know, at least you kind of realize that, and you know
that's
that you're
the first
working
step, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And real quick, back to the Instagram before you go to sleep thing, to kind of meet in the middle there, you could get like blue light blocking glasses.
What are those?
So they're basically like big red, not big, but they're like red goggles. They look like goggles, but they're just glasses. They look like, you know, racer sunglasses kind of. But they block every spectrum of blue light possible, and a little bit of green. So everything's just really, really red, which doesn't affect your night vision or anything like that. So basically, like when, you know, we were in like the caveman era, you know, the sun would come up and you would wake up, and then when the sun went down, you'd go to sleep. So there was no artificial blue light, which is like, especially with like the screens and the phones. So if you get those glasses on, then you're not experiencing any of that blue light, and you can kind of still be on your phone if you need to be before you go to sleep. Yeah. I'll give you.
So you have them?
I do. Yeah.
And do you feel like a difference?
I love them. They're really relaxing. The ones I have are called True Dark by I think it's biohack.com sells them.
I'll have to try those.
Check those out. They're pretty awesome. Like you put them on for an hour before you go to sleep, and you're just like, oh, I'm so relaxed.
See, and then I feel like then when you actually fall asleep, like you get into like your better.
Yeah,
sleep
you're gonna
quicker.
hit your deep sleep quicker.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of things you can do, but I'll send you a link to those if you want. But,
yeah, for sure. So when did you get in, or like have you always been into like healthy eating and like these types of things, or was this like something kind of like newer that?
Is fairly new. It's been right before Dancing with the Stars, actually. I discovered Bulletproof Coffee.
Oh my God, I love Bulletproof.
Oh my God, we've talked about this.
Yes.
I cannot believe I didn't make you Bulletproof Coffee.
Yeah.
Oh man, I totally forgot about that.
Fail.
Shoot.
I'm kidding. No,
I mean,
this is good too.
This is really tasty, but yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh my God, no, so good.
Yeah, so right before Dancing with the Stars, a buddy of mine was like, you gotta try this coffee, man. It's like, it's gonna give you this crazy energy. So I think that's, part of the reason why I made it through that show, because I was 2-3 weeks in, my legs were dying. Like I had like kind of hockey stamina, but dancing stamina is just totally different.
It's a different thing. And then like you throw in the quick step or like, the fast
quick step and tango.
And,
I don't even want to talk about those. Those were so hard.
And the jive.
I was so angry. Just those 2 weeks, I was just like, this hurts so bad.
You're like, why am I doing this?
Exactly, yeah.
No, just kidding.
But
it was fun.
yeah, so I discovered Bulletproof Coffee, and then through their company, all the extra supplements and biohacking and whatnot. So it's been like, I guess it was 3 years now. Yeah. But I don't know. I love it. And I just love the way I feel when I started really paying attention to what I eat and just eating really clean and just all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, the way I feel when I wake up in the morning after like a really good night of sleep and really good eating, I'm just like, this is amazing. Like I can conquer the world right now. Yeah.
And then like, as you said, like you have one day of like eating not great or drinking or like whatever, and you're just like, whoa, like this is what it feels like.
And the easiest thing when I'm sort of like in the sort of downwardness of like, oh, I really want some cookies. Like I'm a huge chocolate chip cookie fan. Like it's really hard for me to turn one down. So what I've started doing is doing like 2/3 of my meals like breakfast and lunch, like really strict. Yeah. And then I kind of easy on dinner, like if I want a glass of wine or something like that.
You go out to eat and like sometimes you can't obviously control like what, or you don't know what they're putting.
Exactly. Or or if you're going out with friends or like a date night, I try to think like this is a date night. This is gonna be fun. Yeah. I'm not gonna worry about it. So. Or like some truffle fries.
Oh my God. See, that's where I like fries and chips.
Totally.
Oh my God, chips. Yes. Like this is like for like all my closest friends, like anytime they bring out chips, my eyes just like get big and they all just like look at me and they're like.
Do you have a favorite spot in LA for like French fries?
I'm like, no, but do you have recommendations? Because so I now split my time between Boston and LA. We got a place out in LA. And so I don't have like a favorite spot, but I'm happy to take recommendations.
So, in my humble opinion, the best truffle fries in Los Angeles would be on the 30. So, it's a little spot on Ventura in Sherman Oaks. Okay. And so good. Yeah. Okay. All of their stuff is really great. It's probably my favorite restaurant next to Umami Burger. Yeah. But they're French.
So what do you get there besides the truffle fries?
There's a couple appetizers that are really good. Okay. There's they're called amaze balls. It's like fried potato balls and
So you're gonna feel really good after this meal. Basically.
Yeah, this is like when you're like
this is your cheat meal.
Yeah, the big cheat meal for sure. They have these like shrimp and pineapple, not pineapple, shrimp and mango. Speaking of mango.
Speaking of,
all their appetizers are just really great. They have a sea bass that is out of this world. So good. That's
okay. So like sea bass and truffle fries, because I feel like it balances out.
Yeah. You kind of balance it out. Yeah. There's a vegetable that comes with the sea bass, I think.
Get your greens in.
Yeah, I think it's asparagus probably. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like middle of the road, but like if that's what I try to do. Like if it's dinner, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have some fries and I'll have the sea bass and some vegetables. Yeah. So. Yeah. So Boston and LA. How much do you go back and forth?
Every month is different. Like it just depends on what I have going on. My fiance's from Boston, so like our main home is in Boston, and then we were both just coming out here so much for work that, you know, getting, as you know, like staying in hotels gets very old. And so we were just like, this is annoying. And then one of my best friends and teammate, Sean Johnson, so she did Dancing with the Stars too, won the show. And they were kind of doing the same thing. So her and her husband live in Nashville, but then they were coming out here a lot. And so we were both at the exact same time looking for one bedrooms. And then we were, all four of us were like, wait a second, this could actually be really fun. And so we ended up getting a place together. We don't overlap as much as like we thought we would.
Oh, really?
Which is like great because then we all have our own space. But at the same time, when we're all together, it's so fun because like...
That's really cool, actually.
And like Sean and I have never had roommates besides, you know, her husband and then like my fiance. And so we were like a little nervous like going into it because we were like, hold on, like we need like some rules. We need to like, because like both of our fiance and husband, they were just like, they were concerned because they were like, you guys have never had a roommate and you're going to like try to room with like your best friend. And we're like, well, it's not like full time. Like, it's, you know, we're not living here completely. But it's been so fun, like, having, like, a girlfriend, too. Like, we can, like, we always, like, go work out together. Or, like, if you need to get your nails done. Or, you know, like, do girl stuff. And then, like, the four of us, like, love to play, you know, have, like, game night and cards. Or, like, go out on a double date or something. So, it's been super fun. So, it's only been a few months. But, yeah, it's been fun.
That's cool. Yeah. I loved living. We had a band house
that's cool.
for a couple years. Like, it was just me and the band. And those memories are so fun. Like, even though we all were... you know, it was kind of tight quarters at times, and then we would go on tour and we'd still all be together. But it was really fun to just sort of have a house where we were all there. And now we all live separately and we all sort of like...
Sometimes miss it.
Yeah, you miss it a little bit, but we're all enjoying our own space now. And then
for sure.
It kind of makes it more fun when you do end up meeting up together, you know, for family dinner or whatever.
It makes it more special because it's not every day. Yeah.
Exactly. You're not waking up and seeing each other every day.
And being like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I want to jump back really quick to the Olympics because I don't think a lot of people know like what goes on before the Olympics actually start because there's a couple of like trials and you got to make a couple things happen first, right?
Yeah. So basically, at our Olympic trials in 2008. Our Olympic team wasn't actually named, so only the top two in the all-around were named. So it was Sean and I. Sean won, and I got second at our trials. And then the rest of the team was named a few weeks later at another training camp that we had. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and then basically even going into that training camp, they kind of told us that Sean and I's spot on the team wasn't, like, secure. We still have to, like, go to this camp and prove our readiness.
Wow. So people choosing the team, is that like the coaches?
Yeah, so we had a head coach, Marta Caroli, and then two other people. So we had a second person, then an athlete rep. So the committee, there was a selection committee, so there was three people. And so they basically chose the team based on, well, there was like a lot of different things. So it wasn't just your performance at the Olympic trials. And so, which could be good or bad. You know, if you have a great performance, you could get fourth place in the all-around competition and still not make the team for a six-man team. Or, you know, you've been doing so well all year, 2 years, because they look back. They don't just, like, take that competition. They look back at last year, like, your world championships, how you perform under pressure, consistency, a team competition, how you are as a team. Like, there's, like, so many things that go into. That's why it's so different than... You know, swimming, nothing against any of these sports at all because they're all equally as hard, but swimming, track and field, like you're literally at trials going up against the clock. And whoever wins or gets, you know, top two or whatever, they make the team. There isn't someone else saying, well, the fourth place person was better, so we're going to put...
Right.
So it's definitely...
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a little subjective, obviously, as, you know, the whole sport is, because you could have a judge that just... liked it, and like similar to Dancing with the Stars, you know, where you're just like, wait a second, that was like a really good routine, and you get like a 7, and you're like, what? Happened to us. And so I think that at times that was kind of hard because you're just not sure what to expect. You know, you can do your best, but you're not guaranteed anything. Whereas like, obviously, like, if you win Olympic trials, like, I don't think there's ever been in history that, like, the person that won didn't go.
Make it, right.
Yeah, but, you know, when you're, like, fourth or fifth, it's kind of like, all right, well, like, let me cross my fingers, you know. So yeah, so we have like that year we have like the national championships, and from nationals, certain amount of people make it onto the Olympic trials, and then from trials we go to camp, and then that's kind of like the final selection.
Wow.
But the process really starts like as soon as you start competing on the national team,
right?
Because they go
so
back.
How do you get on to the national team in the first place?
So in gymnastics, you start at like. Well, when I competed, it started at level 4. Now it starts at level 1, and you go all the way up to 10, and then after 10, it's elite. And when you're elite, you can compete at nationals and then make the national team and then like represent your country internationally. So, but to make elite, there's like an elite qualifier. You have to compete and get a certain score. And then from there, you make it to this competition called the Classic. And from Classics, you make it to nationals. And so from nationals, you make the national team. And every year there's a different amount of athletes that make the national team based on, like what competition's coming up. Olympic year, it's always like a larger team that's selected, and then it just kind of gets smaller and smaller. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why like when people watch, they think like, if you have one mistake at Olympic trials, like you are not going to make the team. But it's like, that's what's good about, I guess, in a way, that's what's good about it, is because they're not just looking at that one competition. They're kind of going back in time. So, but yeah, I mean, it's like, obviously you want to do your best every single time and not have mistakes, so you don't have to like be nervous about that. But it's definitely a process, unlike, a sport where you're just kind of going against the clock. Cause if you win, you go, it's like,
it's a little more simple. Yeah. Well, that's crazy. I had no idea there was like that many things
There's
you
a lot
have
of
to
steps.
do.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like Olympic year. There's nothing like it. Like it's literally as soon as like the clocks like hit, like for me, it was obviously 2008, like January 1st, I was just like, whew, okay.
Yeah, so when do you know that, when did you get the call that you're on the team?
So we literally went to our last training camp. So it was a few weeks after Olympic trials, and it was in Houston. And from Houston, the team left for Beijing. So about 10 or 12 of us packed to Houston as if we were going to the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And only 6 went. So you don't, like, like 5 days before you leave for the Olympics.
What? So, wait, so you just go to Houston, and then they pick the final, how many you say, 5?
So our year was 6, then it was 5, now it's 4. It just, the rules are a little messed up.
Gotcha.
In my opinion. Yeah.
So you go to Houston, and you're like, okay, I don't know if I'm
Sean
going.
and I, obviously, because we got first and second at trials, and like we were automatically named to the team, we were like more confident that we were going to go.
Right.
We still had to show up and like compete and prove our readiness that, in the last 2 weeks, we didn't just like relax and like go celebrate, and, we had to like train, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it was really hard too, because it's like you sit in a room, and the selection committee basically we're all together, like all 12 of us or however many there were, with our coaches. Our family wasn't there, and they basically just like go down the list of 6 people, and it's like people's dreams are coming true, and then people's dreams are getting shattered. And so it's like you like feel so happy, but then like one of your teammates and really good friends is like, her dreams didn't come true. So it's like it's emotionally really hard to kind of like, you want to celebrate, but then you also know like, okay, that's just the first step that I made this team. Yeah. Now I actually have to like perform.
Yeah, now you gotta go do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's like, so you get to Beijing, what's like the first day of competition look like?
So
like from when you wake up?
Yeah, so we actually were there about 2 weeks before the competition started. So to get adjusted to the time, to train, like the equipment is different, which is also crazy. Like, yeah, like in China, the floor isn't as springy, the bars are more bouncy, the material, the beam is different, like everything is different.
Wow.
Again, like not to take away from any other sport by any means,
but the water is the same. It's just water.
From what I know, I don't know, I'm not.
I guess maybe the temperature could be slightly different.
The temperature, the level of chlorine, I don't know, I'm not sure. But
that's funny.
Yeah. So it's like you really just want to try to get adjusted and familiar with like everything and like your surroundings. That being said, where we never are able to train in the actual competition hall or the arena until we have one chance, and it's called podium training, and you get basically like 2 times up on each of the pieces of equipment, so you only get to try like that balance beam like 1 or 2 times before you compete. So So a lot of it, because I always say, like, especially when you're at the Olympics, like, you're physically prepared. Like, I had trained 18 years of my life for that moment, but then it becomes a mental game, you know?
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's really all about who can survive and be the strongest mentally, you know? Because we're all ready. We have all trained. Like, our bodies are ready. We're physically ready. We're in the best shape of our lives. But, you know, it's like who can live up to the pressure, the nerves, the expectations of being at the Olympics.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it was. I mean, especially I think the team competition was the most nerve-wracking for me because, well, I think for all of us, because when you're competing in the all-around finals or the event finals, you're representing the United States, but you're competing for yourself, really.
Right,
Like, you're the
just
only one that gets,
there.
But when it's like the team competition, like if you mess up or have a mistake or something, like that's for everyone, and you just feel like it's your fault. And that happened to me once at Worlds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was the year before, actually. It was 2007 Worlds in Germany, and we were in the lead halfway through. And on beam, it was like the craziest thing. Like, I had a great beam routine. And what happens is in the team finals, 3 girls go up on each event, and all 3 scores have to count, meaning like you have no room for error. Like, if you have a fall or mistake, you still have to count the score.
Right.
So you can't like drop a score. Whereas in qualifying, you have 5 girls up and only 4 scores count. So you can like kind of like get rid of one if one of us has a mistake. So
oh, wow.
Had a great beam routine, and like when I went for my dismount off the beam, my foot slipped, and I was supposed to do like a back layout with I think at that, was I doing a triple? Yeah, 3 or 2.5 twists or 3 twists. I forget what I did that year.
Whoa.
And I didn't do any twists, and I just did like a backflip. So I lost points for like the form. I lost bonus points because I didn't complete the skill.
Right.
I lost the requirement because you have to end with a certain level of difficulty. And so I was just like, oh my gosh. I've literally just like lost it for not just my team, but my country. And I was like freaking out and so upset. And then Sean goes up, and she's kind of like the anchor, and she falls on her first skill. And we're just like, because like both of us were like so consistent. Like beam was like one of our really strong events, and I remember like she just kind of like looked at us, and we were all standing there, and we like just like didn't even know, like we were just like, okay, come on, like you can do it, like get back up, finish. She finished, and then we were like, all right, like our team captain that year was one of our teammates, Alicia, and she kind of pulled us together, and she's like, okay, you guys, like, you know, we can't do anything about that now. Like, that's in the past. Yes, like, we want to go back and, like, redo that whole thing, but we can't. So we have one more event. Let's just finish strong. Let's, like, do this for each other. Like, it's okay. It's not your fault. Like, and we ended up winning still. So it was like, yeah. Well, so I felt bad, but then in the end, both Sean and I were like, oh, thank God.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because I don't know.
Talk
like,
about a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Literally the last girl went, and we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of pressure, because you want to obviously do your best, but you want to make everyone proud, and your teammates and your country. And so it's like that was probably the most pressure that I've ever felt. Like throughout the rest of my career, I feel like the pressure that I felt most was the pressure I put on myself. Because like I knew like how hard I worked and how hard I trained, and I just wanted to do my very best. Mm-hmm. Whereas like the Olympics was, you're not just doing it for yourself anymore.
Yeah.
You know, this is like an entire nation that is counting on you.
And so many people are watching.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like glad I didn't know the exact amount.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, so like I think going back to like dancing, like, you know, yes, I was nervous for that, and I think like the first half of the season, I did kind of treat it like a competition. Like, and yes, it is a competition, but I treated it too much like the Olympics. And Derek was finally like, okay, like this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Like you need to like relax. And I was just like, okay. And I just like was so serious about like the judges' scores and like what they were saying, because for me, my dad, who was my coach, like anytime he gave me like a critique or a correction, it was just like, okay, got it. Like, and you like try like really take it in. Yeah. And then like this time, like when it was like the judges on dancing were saying that, like I would do the same thing, and like Derek would just be like, okay, it's fine, just forget about it. I'm like, what do you mean I forget about it? I have to fix it. Yeah. So it was a learning lesson in the sense of, okay, let's try not to be so perfect, and like let's try not to like compete. Like let's actually like have fun, show your personality. And I feel like I finally got onto that like week 9 when we got eliminated, and I was like, shoot.
I think I was on the opposite end of the spectrum of that.
Just
like
having,
I was just
like an absolute blast.
Having just way too much fun in the beginning and probably not taking it as seriously as I could have.
Hello, you were like amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys too though. I remember that first week I was standing next to Mark, and both of us were like, oh, they're really good.
It was fun. Yeah. I wish I could do it again knowing what I know now with the show, and just having fun. And I also feel like us as a cast, like, well, obviously like we were in New York, so like we were really never in LA, but I feel like towards the end, like everyone became like this giant family, and I was like, wait, no, like I don't want it to be over now, but
it is funny how you said, like kind of like week 9, like the last 2 weeks is like everyone kind of just becomes like a thing, and then it's like, and it's over,
and bye. Never see you
never see you guys again.
But no, it was definitely fun, and I think again like just a learning lesson for me as to just like be yourself, you know, like don't like, yes, the Olympics were like one thing and one part of your life, but like that doesn't mean you have to like do everything like that in life. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool. And you did so good. How many medals did you win?
5.
5? Yeah, I mean,
my dad got 4, not that we're competitive. Right?
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, I remember like after I got my 4th medal, I had one more competition left, and it was beam finals, and I remember we were like in the car in the back of this van, like going back to I think the Olympic Village, and I remember I'm like, well, I have 4 medals now, and he's like, I know, and I'm like, and I have one more competition. He's like, I know. He's like, easier said than done. I'm like, okay, like game on.
Yeah, bring it on, Dad. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about being a coach?
I have 0 patience. So, no, I love like coaching. So I do a lot in the summer, like camps and clinics and with little kids like all across the country. But I don't know if I have it in me to do it like full time. He's amazing and has
Is he still doing it?
Yeah, he still coaches. But they have 2 gyms in the Dallas area that they own and coach at, and it's just like it definitely takes a certain level of like patience and I mean like I think like the hours that I spent in the gym training, like the coaches are in there even longer, you know, and then like with all of the athletes, and I don't think it's in me to do that full time.
Yeah, there's definitely a certain mentality I think to be able to coach it is one thing, and then to be able to kind of do it and you know almost coach yourself and have that discipline is a different thing, because you got to be really, like you said, patience is probably a huge thing, I would imagine. Yeah,
obviously like patience and like dedication to you know being in the gym every single day when you're tired, when you want to be with your family. Like that's what I saw too. I was so lucky that my dad was my coach, so I was with him a lot. But you know, even now, like because of their gyms, like we don't really have a lot of family vacations because it's hard for them to leave the gym. And he called me actually on my way over, and he was like, so, because I'm going back to Texas next week, and he was like, okay, can we like get away for a weekend? Like, and I was just like, okay, like that like never happened. So I'm like, let's like, if we all have a few days, we're just like, okay, let's like go somewhere. So
do you guys go back to Russia and see grandparents every once in a while?
I haven't been in about 5 years, which is the longest that I haven't been. I'm hoping to go back either this year or next year. My grandparents come back. They go to Texas and visit them, so that's at least great. But yeah, I haven't been back in a while. My parents actually just went for New Year's this last year. So just, I guess, however many months ago that was. And yeah, so they go back pretty much every year, but it's tough. It's tough to get away from like, you know, your schedule, like things come up and it's hard to be that far away. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely part of who I am. I'm proud, I guess, of my background and, my family. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be here today if it weren't, for what my parents did, both in their gymnastics career, but kind of like moving over to the United States. They wanted to give me the best life possible, and they also wanted to pursue their dream of opening up a gymnastics school. Whereas, in Russia at the time, or probably even now, that wasn't a possibility to do that as an individual. And so, but that being said, like, I'll forever be proud. I have dual citizenship, and my grandparents live there, and I speak the language, and, it'll forever be part of who I am. So
that's great. Yeah. And I love that you recognize that your parents did that. I think it's very important for, especially when you are as fortunate, like, someone like us that have very, very strong parents and very supportive parents, and just supporting whatever we love and what we want to do.
Yeah, I mean,
a very big thing.
Yeah, and we're, as you said, very lucky because, that's not always the case. And just for them to kind of like give us the opportunity and the chance to live our dreams and like support whatever crazy new dream and idea that we always have is really, really cool. I mean, I like, again, being the only child, as soon as I finished gymnastics, I was like, I'm moving to New York. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yep, like, I'll be back. But like, and I went to school at NYU, and I know like that was super hard for them because like we're so close, but at the same time they knew like that I wanted to do that, and I wanted to kind of like explore life in the world, and they were like, okay, like, we're going to support you. We'll come visit, but, I feel like the older you get too, like the more you can like understand, your parents and like where they came from and are coming from sometimes. And like I don't have kids now, but I feel like even more so when you have kids, you like really understand like kind of what your parents went through, and how much they love us and what they would do for us. So we're both very very fortunate, and great parents. So that's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much for being on the show. Yeah, I love talking to you. Great catching up. Yes, so long. It was really awesome to hear all of those stories, and just after everything you've accomplished, it's really cool to hear the behind the scenes. I did like the drink.
Thank you. I'm
was
glad
talking
you did.
too much. But
no worries.
No
worries at all.
It was very good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nastia. Thanks for being here. Cheers.
Thanks.